So
Strip
because because the reason that's happening is you have an ineffective SEO strategy in there, maybe something that you thought was going to be good, or even an outdated one, or you have nothing in there. And the robots are therefore going to take a wild guess at what you do, who you help, how things.
Welcome to Wild and Finally Fucking Free, the show for disruptors, rebels, and revolutionaries who know they're here to change the damn world. I'm Kylie Patchett, your voice and visibility catalyst, and here we dive into unapologetic truth, magnetic messaging, and visibility that actually feels good in your body, your bones, and your business. We share the stories of the out-of-the-box, neuro-sparkly, creative, witchy wild ones rewriting how we live, love, learn, and lead. This isn't about being louder. It's about being rooted, resonant, and regulated so you can be real, raw, and ready to roar. If you're done contorting yourself to fit the mold and you're ready to own your voice, your power, and your place in the revolution, welcome home. Let's dive in. Hello friends, it's podcast day today. This is another epic episode, so we've split it into two halves again. This time I have my beautiful friend Brittany Herzberg, who is, I call her the SEO Queen. Lots of people call her the SEO Queen. And we are sharing the down low on SEO and the fact that it can be this beautiful support structure for you and your business, particularly when life gets lifey. And I share in this episode that life has indeed been lifey this year for me and my family, and the impact of working with Brittany that has had on the fact that I can not be stuck in the churning and burning, creating content for social media when life does throw you curveballs. So I must listen. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. I have the beautiful Brittany Herzberg with me today. Hello, Brittany. How are you?
Hi, I'm so good. I'm really excited to be here with you. I love spending time with you.
I'm like, oh, this is an exciting podcast guest because we're just going to be giggling the whole time.
You've been so much.
Also, curly girls represent.
I know. I have a bun though.
I just had my hair cut yesterday, so I'm feeling quite fresh.
Oh, good. Love it.
Like, yes. For those people who don't already know, sorry, we're in a little bit of a silly mood because we've been talking about also before we started recording, but we're not going to apologize for that. Would you like to introduce your beautiful self to the listeners that don't already know you?
Sure. So my name is Brittany Herzberg. I'm an SEO strategist and coach by way of massage therapy. So what happened was in, I think it was 2020. Anyway, my boyfriend and I ended up leaving the state where I had my massage practice. I went from having 50 plus people per month to having zero. I was the primary breadwinner and I didn't do any marketing. I didn't have any connections. The only thing that brought in clients after about a month and a half was SEO. And I know that specifically because they said they searched on Google, they found me, my website came up, and they booked 2 appointments. And I was like, thank you. I can now buy groceries. Like, this is great. But also, how did I do that and how do I repeat that? So I totally dove in the deep end with SEO, started learning about it. The more I learned about it, the more I was like, this is basically extra credit for business owners. And everyone seems confused. So let me see if I can figure this out. And my brain is pretty cool that it figures things out and it finds a way to spit it out in a very easy to digest and do and act on kind of way. So I have since become known as the SEO Queen. I have my whole SEO and grow method, and I love being able to even do stuff like this, come on podcasts and talk about it.
So good. So good. I love, like we worked together on my SEO. We met through like a mutual friend, Amy Babish, who's also been on this podcast. And I think this is like testament to, you can become like besties across the internet with people that just like vibe with. Cause I think, did we not first have a conversation about some sort of artwork?
It was a mountain because of the whole podcast with Amy. And she was talking about like mountains behind you are very supportive. And I was like, I got this picture. And you're like, I got this picture.
And then you sent me the Instagram of the lady who does those beautiful tables. And then she puts that black cement between them. And we were like vibing on the same thing. And I'm like, oh, you can totally make friends on the internet. Mind you, I don't find it very easy to make friends in real life, but on the internet. So I'm very grateful that our paths have crossed. Where do I want to start? I feel like I want to start way back before, like I knew
that SEO should be, inverted commas, part of my visibility strategy, right? Like I was aware of it, but I don't know. There was something in me that was like, it feels really old school, not new online business. And I mean, these are all like furfies, but this is where my brain was. So I'm thinking that maybe people that are listening are maybe in the same sort of track. I also, like, I felt like I'd done multiple kind of SEO like classes or stuff over the years, like many, many years. And it never really made sense to my brain. Like it just felt like it was very complicated and I had to find out these keywords that I didn't really understand and like, you know, how, and also my brain is like, how do I bottle my business into just these many keywords, right? As we know, neuro-sparkly people like to be multi-passionate. And I remember saying to you, like, I don't know where to start. And you did this amazing audit where you just like broke it down super, super simple. And I was like, oh, okay, that's far less complex than my head making. I also remember saying to you, there's a part of me that's like, SEO feels maybe boring compared to the shiny marketing strategies, like they get on social media, etc. But then I've had a year where I have needed to do things for the longer game, like SEO, that allows me to not be so present in my business because it has been a shit. Not in all levels, but so is that the kind of common SEO misunderstandings that people have? Like when people first start working with you, what are they like? Why have they not prioritized SEO first?
Oh, that's a loaded one, but it's a good one. Okay. So
how much time do you
go right in there, right? So yes, people do think that it's extremely complicated. They feel like it requires coding. Most of us have zero interest in learning anything about coding. So for present company included, I don't want to learn anything about coding.
I taught myself how to code, but yes, okay.
I am very happy for you. I will be calling you. But there's a lot that we blow up in our heads because it's an unknown. We're very familiar with social media marketing. We're very unfamiliar with SEO marketing.
Yes.
So that is definitely a common thing where it's like, it's going to be techie. It's going to be complicated. Also, the fun SEO marketers who are generally, I'm prioritizing here, generally the like marketing bros, make you feel so stupid, so dumb, so incapable of doing SEO on your own. And that is one thing that I will harp on till the day I die, because it is, if I can do it, I'm not super techie. I'm savvy. I want to understand what the game is so I can play it.
Yes.
And if I can do that, anybody can do that. I was a massage therapist. I didn't, I don't have some fancy degree or anything. I know basic common things that you can plug in and act on. The other one that you mentioned was feeling like it was boring or outdated. And that's another thing that I definitely hear from people. Blogging is dead. SEO is dead. These two are magical because they just like revive themselves on the weekly. Really? They haven't gone anywhere. It's just where the spotlight is shining. Spotlight. It's where the spotlight is shining.
Vegas.
Back to your forensics days, right? Oh my gosh. So it's where the spotlight is shining. Yes. And there are trendy things, there are sexy, fun things. And then you've got SEO, which is kind of like boring, but so very important. And it is very doable, but so many of us just keep avoiding it because we've built it up to be this crazy giant thing in our heads.
Yes. Do you know, as you're talking, I am, this year I have been learning to trade, right? So some stocks feel to me like the bad boy on the motorbike that's like giving you a little bit of an eye, like, let's go for a ride, but is not very reliable. And some stock have this feeling to me, and, this is my brain turning everything into energy, but have this feeling of like this beautiful, anchored, reliable, like either dad presence or big brother. I've never had a big brother, but, that's what I imagine, or like an uncle that you really vibe with or whatever. And as you're talking, I'm like, oh my God, SEO is the equivalent of the anchored presence in your life that's there. And it might be the one that's taken off on a motorbike and doing crazy wild things, but it is the stable thing that keeps on keeping on long term. Because this is what I really didn't get is like social media is so short-lived. And I think everyone knows that, but we are so freaking addicted to it, which is how it's designed, obviously, that it's like I don't know, for me in my brain, it like hits this dopamine thing. And I remember
Yeah.
saying to you, like, I'm in the middle of, a year of, I think I counted the other day 7 hospitalizations for my parental that's going through dementia. And I remember being in hospital, I don't even, it'd been a few months ago. And I had this moment where I was in the bathroom. I still remember where I was voice noting you. In the bathroom, escaped from the hospital room, which is very depressing and stressful and sad and all of those things. And I remember saying to you, oh my God, Brittany, I have just realized that I want to get my dopamine from being out in my life, like in a forest or on the back of a motorbike, but next to my husband, not the bad way.
Just to be clear.
Not bad. But I remember saying that to you instead of getting this like hit of like, I've got to be on all the time. I've got to be performing all the time. I've got to be on social media all the time. I've got to be churning all of this content out. I'm like a huge believer in content creation, but not at the expense of me having the space to have 7 hospitalizations in a year. And that conversation was like, oh my God, I can get so addicted to the shiny thing, but forget that there are these longer term, much more nervous system friendly strategies for your business that I've so badly needed this year. So praise Brittany for introducing me. What did do you remember that conversation? I don't know if it was
Very much so.
Yeah.
No, because I even ended up putting your quote on a slide in the presentation that I did, because I was like, this is it. I found a picture of trees and everything, but you specifically said like, I want to get my dopamine from being out in a forest and not from getting likes on social media.
Yeah.
And you said that and I was like, that's it. Because
Yes.
we like the hits of dopamine. We like the recognition. We like the validation. We like the making friends. I love it. I love the social aspect of social media.
Yes.
And yet it's so effortful to be on social media and to be cranking out content. I'm very clear on what I have to say. You're very clear on what you have to say.
Yeah.
Very clear on visuals and vibe and all of that stuff. But it still takes time to be intentional, to put a piece of something together, to whether that's a video, whether that's text and wanting it to look a certain way, whether that's actually writing the caption, whatever that is, there's lots of different steps that go into it for something that's going to last as long as the stomach flu. I mean, you're lucky if you get 48 hours out of it. It's gone.
Exactly.
And that's okay because it can serve a purpose. If we're speaking of Instagram specifically, it can still live on your profile. People can still go there. They can still binge it. They can still get a vibe of you. That's still very important. But if you're thinking of how much time you're putting into that versus the amount of time, you're on the other side of it now with SEO. So versus thinking of how much time you take to optimize something for SEO, it's night and day. But we're so scared of the SEO thing because we don't know it.
Yeah, exactly. I think the whole process with you, like starting with the audit, do you still do the audits for anyone that's listening? Like, is that still?
I do.
Okay, cool.
I do. Yeah, they're called mini SEO audits if anyone's looking for that.
Perfect.
Quick pause, my love. If you've been feeling like you've outgrown some of the boxes you used to fit in, or there's a version of you that is ready to speak more unapologetically, to lead from a whole other, more bold, more beautiful evolution, and to be seen for your unique gifts and genius, you need to get your hands on a Genius You human design reading. And no, this is not a human design reading like you know it through the tropical system with like a rote, surface level generic description. This is actually the way that I do human design through the lens of true sidereal, which is true sky at the time of your birth, human design, and an intuitive coaching audio breakdown that decodes your voice, your visibility, your purpose. It is a massive permission slip. It is a mirror to your magnificence. And it is the perfect gift right now to yourself to enter 2026 with a whole new level of the evolution you're stepping into. The way that I see true sidereal human design is like the next step, the next stage, the next wild woman yes to your evolution. And right now, these are half price, which is $222 US for a 60+ page report, an hour of intuitive coaching from me in audio reading format, and also the ability to add on an in-person intuitive coaching session to answer any specific questions that you might have as a follow-up. And they are available very, very, very excitingly on my brand new website. Now, it's a complicated URL, so if you're listening to this, go and check the show notes. But where you will find them is offers.kyliepatchett.com/genius. offers.kyliepatchett.com/genius. All right, back to the show.
What that showed me, well, actually two things. So first of all, the simplicity and the way that you teach it, because that is, I really believe that's one of your genius zones, is like this complicated thing, breaking it down into very, very simple, like these are the things that you can action. And even more than that, one thing that I definitely haven't gone backwards and done is like SEOing podcasts, SEOing like images, etc., because the sheer volume of that back catalog like just does my head in. Also, moving my business from one platform to another in the middle of a personal shitstorm. Yeah, what the hell? Anyway,
Right?
ridiculous, necessary. But the other thing that I remember is it really forced me to get clear on those 3 key questions that you ask in the very first module of your like process. So do you want to share that? Do you want? Because
Oh, yes, please.
yes, go.
Please. So I call them the big 3 because that's what they are. And as you hear these, maybe you want to pause and really reflect on it. I'd encourage you to sit there and maybe journal on it a little bit. And also, as you hear these questions, they can be very confronting. So if you hear them and you're like, oh shit, that's also very normal. So like, just know that that's a totally normal response. So the questions are, you are very... I had a big pause when I actually made myself answer them. Kylie had a big pause. Like, it's totally normal. So the questions are, who do you help? How do you help them? And what do you want to be known for or as? So I'll go into them a little bit more because sometimes a little bit of information can be helpful. Who do you help is really just, how do you break that down? For me, it's established entrepreneurs. It's a pretty wide bucket, but I get more specific and narrowed down with some other things. But who are you helping? Are you helping moms? Are you helping, health and wellness practitioners? Are you helping podcasts? What does that look like? And if there's a few different groups, that's okay. Write them down. What do you do, or how do you help them rather, is really about the offers, the services, the products. Like, what are the things that you're providing people? Is it one-to-one coaching? Do you have digital products? Are they downloads? Are they workshops? What is the thing, or what are the things? And or what's the transformation? If you happen to know that, take a minute and write down the transformation, because we all have it. But again, it's very confronting if you're like, oh my God, what's the one thing I do? And then the final thing is, what do you want to be known for or as? And for me, that's the SEO Queen. I love that. I did not dub myself that. It's easy to remember. And other people called me that. And I was like, that's really fun. I really like that. It really does embody the vibe of what I do. And me and lots of people have said that independent of one another. So I'm like, okay, guess I'm that. But in
You a crown and sending it.
please, I will so wear that for this fun
project.
Oh my gosh, I would love that. I would adore that. But it's, I mean, it's memorable. What?
Crochet. So maybe I could crochet. No, that is ridiculous. It would be font.
I can't do that.
Anyway, we digress. Please get to the 3rd question. I apologize.
But see, now it's memorable. So really, the what do you want to be known for as gets to the heart of when Kylie's telling Brittany that she needs to go work with so-and-so. What's that conversation? What do you want that conversation to be? A lot of people, when I ask that question, are like, oh, these are my values. That's cool. You could write that down. But really, the heart of it is, how do you want people to be describing you or talking about you or being like your hype girl, your cheerleader when they're referring someone to you? Also, that gets translated by the search engines. It's like, how do you stand out? Why are you different? Why you? Because there's a ton of SEO people. Why me? There's a ton of business coaches. Why Kylie? You know, I'm lumping you in that. I know you don't love that.
Anyway, we'll talk about that later. there will be a penalty. Sorry.
No crown for Brittany. No crown.
No, I'm going to do a crown. Definitely.
I mean, those can be very confronting though, because they're so
Yes.
big, and it really does ask you to, like you said, get very specific, get very focused, but it has such a big payoff. Like one of the women who just went through my SEO program, she said that she feels like SEO helped her become a savvier business owner.
Yeah.
I mean,
Great. Yeah. I know.
you know.
Mic drop. I loved, because I'm always like, I'm talking to clients about simplifying, clarifying, amplifying. Like that is the things that because if you can't clarify who you are, what you offer, and who you help, then pretty much no one else is going to be able to do it for you, right? Because and I always talk about like the energetic bat signal, like what bat signal are you putting out there? And if you're trying to talk to everybody or you're very vague about what you do, no one can find you, and especially not your soulmate clients. For me, it made me, because this last year has been about transitioning from like one-on-one done for you services to a completely different business model. And I feel like every time I get sure on the business model, I then, there's something else that comes into my awareness and I'm like, okay, pivot. And I think that is part of my personality, but it's like, is it still captured by this umbrella of what do you want to be known for and who do you help? And I think for me, the other thing that our work did was I was using words, and actually I'd love you to speak to this because like I call myself a voice and visibility catalyst. What the fuck does that mean? Like no one knows what that means. It's a totally made up title, right? Because I hate the word coach personally.
I know.
And I don't want to be identified as a coach, but I also really realize that language matters. And if it's not what people are searching for,
Right.
from an SEO perspective. So it really forced me to go, okay, great. You want to talk about this and you want to talk about working with disruptors, rebels, and revolutionaries, but that's not what people are Googling either. They're not self-identifying as, I mean, when I say the word disruptors, my ideal clients are definitely like, that is me, but I don't think that's what they're Googling. So I think that's
agree.
like a nuance, right? Of
Yeah.
like you can use language to express it in a way that you need to, but it still needs to make sense to the people that are actually looking for you. Otherwise, they can't find you. It's the same as the bat signal, but it's a language mismatch or something.
Yeah, totally. And there's definitely like I can paint a really good picture that would be easy to understand, especially going back to your mini SEO audit. I actually pulled it up because I was like, what were some of the words you said versus the things that I found in the research?
Yes.
So the words like you're using, like the voice and visibility catalyst, that does great on your website. Once we have people there,
Yes.
SEO gets people to your website because they need to you need to get in their awareness in order for them to go, oh, Kylie, wait, what is this? Click, go over to your website. You can go ham. You can say whatever you want on your website. That is where your vibe goes. Yeah. And you do. And the pages are gorgeous and the vibe is definitely there. Yeah. And the right people, many more of them get funneled to you now because we actually have some of the words that they're using to begin with. Yeah. So there are really like two key spots that you want to have those phrases that people are actually typing in a search bar. And that a search bar can be Instagram, it can be Spotify, it can be Google, it can be, you name it. If it's got a search bar, people can find things. But it's called your SEO title and then your meta description. So when you go to, everyone listening, just play along with me. So you go to the search bar on Google, you type in, what's working out? You go to the search bar, you type the thing in that you're looking for, you hit enter, that page of results pops up. You've got the blue headlines that have a hyperlink, and if you hover, you can click it. And then under that, you've got 1 to 2 gray sentences. Those are the two pieces that really need to have your SEO stuff in there so that your website has a fighting chance of showing up when they're doing these searches. And then those pieces of copy need to have enough information and maybe a little bit of your vibe in that gray sentence summary situation to get them to click over to your website. But they have to know that you exist, that you can help them, that you offer the things that they're looking for. And then really going to the website is the vibe check, which I've said, and I love that because it is such a thing. So you were mentioning you don't like being called a business coach. I knew that, which is part of why I said that. But when I was doing... No, I was the good one. That's a whole other episode.
Bloody trouble client coming.
No. And actually, no, like really, truly, there are so many people who come to me And I think that I am gifted with this ability to be able to help the people who are like, I don't want to be known as a this or that. It's like, okay, let's work through that, because you don't have to necessarily be known as that, but we need to use some of these words that are familiar to your people so you actually can get in front of them.
Yeah.
And that was what we worked through. So I am going back to the actual page that I have for you. And a couple of the things that I found were like energetic alignment, energetic communication, business energetics. So we were able to weave stuff like that in, and coach isn't in your SEO title. We said business and messaging energetics for rebel entrepreneurs.
Yes.
So I wanted to say that so anyone listening could be like, oh, well, that's definitely Kylie.
Yes.
And there's keywords in there.
Yeah, exactly. And they're things that actually people are looking for. Because I think that there is a part of me that like wants to cut off her nose to spite her face with the, I don't want to be known as a coach, and I don't want to, because I don't vibe with so much of the online business thing, if you want to call it thing. The pyramid scheme is what I'm talking about. And but if I'm hiding in plain sight by not using language that actually is being searched, like I'm doing damage to myself and the potential clients that I can actually help. Like there's people out there that are looking for someone who doesn't believe in the pyramid scheme. They have to be able to find me to actually arrive on my doorstep. And I was like, oh, I don't know why this is such a revelation to me. Yeah, it was a good process and practice. And I think too, the other thing that I really loved about having the order and you showing me clearly like how to actually optimize a page allowed me and my team to be able to go through my website and be like, okay, we're going to replicate this process. And we did go backwards and forwards a bit of like, you know, like I can't quite position this or whatever. I feel like that process made me get clearer and more savvy about what I was actually putting in, like especially the H1. And the other thing that I was doing was almost every page of my website had like multiple H1 titles, which confuses the thing. Yeah.
They told, but I do want to say I did the same thing. Because this comes up so often, and it's the reason why I look for that as one of the first pieces of the audit, because I've done it. I didn't know that an H1 needed to perform a function. I thought it was just a cute font. What do you mean it has to
exactly. It's title, and I like to shout at people.
I know. I need to be really clear and upfront and center. Yeah, no, I mean, it's not something that only like people who don't, it's a thing. You learn it. It's okay. This is like by no means, oh my gosh, you're all doing everything wrong. No, I've made the same mistakes. I taught myself this stuff so that I could go out and help other people. And it's like, just like what you're saying, the more awareness you have about it, you and your team were able to go and run with it. I think we did like 3 or 4 pages. And next thing I know, you're like, okay, what about this one? What about this one? And I'm like, this is exciting.
I was just looking before, because I'm moving all of those pages to a new platform.
I know.
So, you know, replicating SEO and meta descriptions. And also I will say, not only were we able to replicate the process then, which was, I don't know, maybe I want to say 6 months, but maybe not even.
I think so.
Yeah. And but now, as I said, like I'm always like clarifying, now that I'm moving them, so there's 39 pages that we optimized back then. So lots of offer pages, lots of lead pages, but also just plain website pages like home and about and whatever. As I'm moving them this time, I'm like, oh, okay, I can see where this can be refined. And so I'm just repeating the process again and again. It's been a very good, because my issue, which is hilarious as a fellow copywriter, is like using too many words. And I'm like, just freaking clarify, like be succinct. But what I love about SEO and meta is that you only have a certain amount of characters. So you can't fluff around. Like there is no fluff space, right? So it's like every word counts, every character counts. So be really clear on what you actually want to be putting out there. So yeah, it's been very helpful. I will say too, one of the things that we clarified was rather than saying disruptor, rebels, revolutionaries, because no one speaks in that language about themselves. It's kind of like the self-appointed queen, right? Like you don't say about yourself, but when other people do, you're like, is that we got really clear with actually one of the key groups that I work with are the neuro-sparkly people. So we started using neurodivergent entrepreneur. And I can see that is building that like connection, because I love fellow neuro-sparkly brains. So it's like, why not specify that instead of putting out random words like disruptor?
Just the ones because they sound good. And they are true. But it's, I mean, again, going back to what you said kind of at the beginning of this, which is if you're not using some of those words that other people are using, you're missing out on an opportunity to help them. They're missing out on someone who really gets and understands them and has a whole program, process, everything built out that's like ready for them and available for them, but they can't get to you if they don't have the right words.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode. If this episode lit a fire in your body, in your business, deep down in your bones, please take a moment to drop a rating and review so more rebels just like you can find us. And don't keep this goodness to yourself. Share it with your disruptive rebel and revolutionary friends who are ready to roar right alongside of you. Until next time, stay wild, stay unapologetic, and stay fucking free.